Who's that? Hello, everybody. It's Dana Sullivan, the Stampin' Chick here. I am just gonna come on for a little while, and I'm just going live. I'm working on some swaps for the incentive trip, which is super exciting. Let me just click on to my page here so that I can see. Whew, okay, I got it. So I can see if anybody comes on with me, and there we go. All right. Here we go. I've not been live on YouTube in quite a while, and so bear with me here for a little bit, but I'm just in the studio working and thought that maybe you guys would just like to hang out and chat with me for a bit, because I know it's been quite a while since we've been able to hang out, and I've not been able to do my Make It Monday live in a while, and honestly, it's just been, man, life is kind of crazy right now, and I'm trying to get everything squared away before the trip, and of course that's taking pretty much all of my attention away. I'm like a child getting ready for summer vacation. I can't help it. I'm so scattered right now. It's such a hard thing to get my mind on task, and to be able to even form coherent sentences, I think. So I thought maybe I would just come on for a little bit, and maybe we could visit via YouTube live. So feel free to say hello. Come on in and say hi. Let me see here. I want to make sure that if you're commenting, I'm going to be able to see you. Here we go. Got it. All right, somebody say hello so I know if this thing is working. Things have changed a lot over here on YouTube. So, yeah, say hello, and oh, hi, Kelly. How's it going from New Jersey? Thank you for coming by. I actually am going to be doing a bit of stamping as well, and you're more than welcome to hang out with me. I don't have any particular theme or project for this evening. Like, I'm not here tonight to show you how to make something necessarily. However, I can talk a little bit about what I'm making right now, and if you're interested, we can hang out and we can chat. So this is what I'm making, and it'll actually end up being a let me see if I have one, a scissor charm. Okay, so I have this one as just a very small and simple one, but these are the kind of things that I make for my gals for our Stampin' Bingo, and everybody just loves them. They go crazy over these little things, and the last one I did, well, I just did a Stampin' Bingo last week, but the event before that in the spring, I didn't do scissor charms because I thought, man, those girls who come to my events all the time, surely they have enough scissor charms for a while. And a lot of them asked, hey, how come we didn't get a scissor charm? We really enjoyed them. So so for the share a milkshake event that I just did last week, let me see, I have a kit here. This is the kit that everyone got for Stampin' Bingo last weekend, and the theme was Share a Milkshake. So there you can see is the scissor charm with the little milkshake and the beads there. This is a really cute little, just a kitschy type of pin. It's really sweet, and it shares the theme, so that was fun. And then the ice cream flavored lollipops here to go along with our milkshake theme. And then their kits included a package of DSP, a package of embellishments, and a package of ribbon, and then their 3 make and takes. So this is what everyone got at Stampin' Bingo. And those little scissor charms, man, they're just, I don't know, they just love them. And so, you know that I'm getting ready to go on the Stampin' Up! Incentive trip to Norway, which is absolutely, utterly, totally, and completely amazing. I've got, 20 days left until I get on the plane, and I still can't believe it's happening. It's unbelievably incredible. And but Stampin' Up! Is putting together a swap for the leaders who are going, and they could participate in a card swap and or a 3D swap. And so I'm going to do both, but this is my 3D swap, and it will have the little loop on here for the scissor charm. I just haven't made that part yet. But it's got stamps from, where did my stamp set go? I've got a hot mess over here. Y'all just don't even know. Using the Playing in the Rain stamp and die bundle. And this little cutie right here and the clouds are what I've got here. And I use the Oh Happy Day sentiment and the postage, the rectangular postage stamp punch. This is going to be retiring, which I hate to see, but you know, I'm going to get a little more use out of it before it does. So I've got the sentiment stamped, and this is Shrinky Dink plastic. If you've never heard of it before, it is the coolest thing. But basically all of these things were stamped like real size. I mean, here's the bunny, and you stamp it in Stays On ink. So I've got my Stays On ink here, and then you color it in with Sharpie markers, or you know, I've got some permanent markers here, and so I've done that to kind of match my beads. And the beads I got from Hobby Lobby, and I really liked the color scheme on these, so I thought they were great. So anyway, I'll do maybe I'll do another 1 or 2 of these little pieces here, and then I'll do some stamping on the Shrinky Dink plastic so you can see. How's that? Okay, so I'm just beading just a little embellishment so you can see it right here on this one. I've got the little pieces here, and I need to make 26 of them. So I'm going to kind of assembly line as much as I can, because I really, really strongly believe that assembly line is the way to go when you have a huge amount of work to do. So it just seems to work out much quicker and easier, at least for me anyway. Now I've seen a couple of these, you see they're attached, and I'm not messing with those. I'll just skip them for now. Usually I can hand them over to Mr. Sullivan, and he does a pretty good job of separating them for me, but you know, if he can, great, and if he can't, it's no big deal. Okay, I like that. So I'm using just some little basic jewelry tools, and I'm kind of making the loop myself. So it starts out with one of these little pins, and they come in a package. Let me see if I can find the... I've got a whole mess here, folks. They're not lobster clasps. They're not jump rings. What are they? They're head pins. That's what they're called. They're head pins. So you can see they're 2-inch, 50-millimeter head pins. That's what those are. And then my beads are a little bit bigger. The opening is a little bit bigger than the little beads. So I'm using these metallic faceted beads. They're 4-millimeter, and these are basically just being used as little stoppers and a cute little embellishment right here at the end. Kelly says, I keep telling myself I want to make one. Glad I caught you. That's awesome, Kelly. Very good. Well, then here you go. I don't know how much of a tutorial this will be, but hopefully you'll be able to see it. Let me see here. What I'm seeing versus what I'm seeing on my computer are different. Let me see if I can in a bit and not mess up the screen. A little bit better view here. I'm not trying to, make us dizzy, but, sorry about that. It's so weird. When I'm going live on Facebook, what I see in my camera is exactly the same as what comes across the screen. But YouTube is always a little different. So let me just, there. Let me see if that works, and I will, I'll let it focus in, and we'll try that out, okay? So let me let it catch up here. There we go. Okay, so I've got my head pin, and then I've put this little tiny stopper bead, so that way my big ones don't slide off. And then I just want to leave, maybe a finger width of space on my head pin. And I'm using some rounded nosed pliers. I'm not really sure if that's what they're called, round nose pliers or something like that. I find these over in the jewelry making department in Hobby Lobby. And I'm just going to catch the edge of the pin right about midway on my pliers. And I'm going to give it a twist so that I'm making my loop. And so you'll see it's kind of like a little shepherd's hook right now. And then I'm going to grab this side of it and continue the twist so that I get an actual loop on my head pin here. Now you can finagle it a little bit. Naturally, since I'm telling you this, it's going to act silly on me. But in theory, you're just going to give it a nice little twist, and it's going to twist up beautifully, and there we go. So, okay, and then that's all I have for this little piece here. All right, so that's what makes the little dangly part of this. That's all that one is right there, okay? So let me do another one, see if I could do it a little more smoothly than that. Okay, so I've got my head pin. I have my little metallic bead. Let me do one of these. And then this one maybe. Kind of want a pink one and then a gold one. Let's see how that works out for us. Now, of course, you can do any plethora of beads and charms and all the things. I actually had made a few that I really liked before. They weren't necessarily Stampin' Up items. I mean, I had used like little charms and things like that. They were super cute though. And I made keychains out of them and all kinds of stuff. And I sold them at a local craft fair. And they were a lot of fun. I mean, this kind of stuff, I consider this kind of stuff to be really relaxing type work. Like it doesn't require a whole lot of mental capacity. I can do this while I'm watching YouTube videos or, stalking some of my favorite Stampin' Up! Demonstrators or whatever. Now, these pliers are, I don't know, a stub nose plier. They're actually wire cutters as well. You can see right here at the bottom, there's some wire cutter. They're rounded on the outside and flat on the inside. Between these and the little round nose ones are the two that I really like to use the most. And when I'm making my little dangly things, you'll see, and I'm not doing any better now that I'm showing you. When I'm doing the little dangly things, I like to use one in each hand because that helps me open up my jump rings. There we go. I'm going to leave that one alone. And so I like to use one on either side to open up those jump rings, and I'll show you what I mean with that here in just a minute too. So, Miss Kelly, how are you doing tonight? We're just gonna hang out and chat if that's okay. What are you up to? Besides watching me make a hot mess of things. Alright, there we go. I really like that. Yeah, I don't need another gold. Let's see here. Let me pull some more beads out. So this box is really nice. I kind of like to hit them up when they're doing a half off sale, right? So, when did I get these? Just a couple of days ago, and they were half off, so that was really cool. I mean, they're not that expensive anyway, but it's always nice when you get a good deal, right? All right, let's see here. Kind of wanted a little something small. How does that look if I do another one of those on top? I bet that's cute. It is cute. Okay, we'll do that. All right. There we go. Now that's how it was supposed to go. Simple and quick. Okay. All right, just like that. That's the way. All right, so now you damaged your meniscus. Oh no. Oh gosh. Yeah, I hear ya. My knees are arthritic sometimes. I feel it when the weather changes, and oh gosh, it's awful. Okay, I've got a handful of these made, and just because I want to kind of show you how to do all of the other things, you can see all of those little dangly bits right there. We're going to be using some jump rings for that. So I'm going to do a little bit of stamp and coloring on the Shrinky Dink plastic, so I'll show you that, and then I've got a couple of these little tags I can go ahead and make the dangles for. So let me close out my beads here, otherwise, you know, I'm gonna smack them and they're gonna go flying across the room, and then Miss Willow the boxer is going to chase after them and eat them, and well, you know, that's just a hot mess waiting to happen. So we'll do what we can to kind of keep it cleaned up a little bit here. All right, I'm gonna set that right there and that one right there, and then I'm gonna bring in the Shrinky Dink plastic. So I don't know how well this is gonna show up, but we'll see. You can see it's like a window sheet, but it's a special type of plastic. And honestly, I don't know if you ever did this kind of stuff when you were in elementary school, but we used to take like Lay's chip bags, the little individual serving bags, and put them in the oven and bake them for a little bit, and they would shrink down too, right? It was really cool. So I don't know what the specific criteria are for melting plastic so that it doesn't just disintegrate, but anyway, whatever it is, this plastic is it. So it looks like this right here. It comes in a package, and there's actually different colors of plastic. So this one is the crystal clear, but I also have a frosted white, and that's what this one is. It's kind of like a matte finish white. And if you want to see the difference here, there we go. So this one was done on the clear piece, and this one was done on the white piece, and you can kind of see that the clear one, you can see through it, right? And the white one obviously is solid color all the way through. So I wanted to see which one I liked the color better, and I thought that I might have to use the white one to get a good bold color, but I didn't. I was able to get a really nice color out of the clear, and since my clear package is a bigger one, I'm going to go ahead and use that for my project. So like I said, I've got to make 26 of these, so you know, I'm going to use the one I've got more of. You remember Shrinky Dinks when you were in school? Your kids did it too, and your grandsons are a bit too young yet. Oh, I gotcha. You know what? They're so much fun. I'm having a great time with them. Okay, so I've got a few of my little bunny rabbits stamped there, and as I had mentioned, you want to make sure you're using Stays On ink as opposed to regular dye-based ink. Because we're using this non-porous surface, you really want to use the Stays On instead so that it doesn't smear. Now that being said, it will still smear when it's freshly stamped, so you want to just stamp it straight down and lift it straight back up. Okay, so you don't want to linger with it, just kind of stamp it down and lift it up. Okay, and we're going to do this a couple more times, and stamp it down and lift it back up. And I'm leaving a little bit of room because I am going to be die cutting these out, and our dies do a great job at cutting them out, so there's no worries with that. Okay, now Stays On ink is a different kind of ink. It's really tacky and leaves a residue, so you can't just use the little chamois like I use for my regular stamps and ink. You kind of need to use the specific solvent type cleaner. So this is called Stays On Cleaner, go figure. And all you do is brush it around. It's got this nice little dauber style top on it, so just brush it around the stamp like so, and then scrub it on your Stampin' scrub here. So there's the wet side and then the dry side, and then there we go. Okay, which I actually need to clean mine a little bit. I've been working quite a while today, so with this thing it's wonderful because you can actually pop these little plates out and you can run them through the dishwasher and wash them, so it's perfect. Okay, now that I have that done, I'm going to let this sit aside for a few minutes. I like to let the Stays On ink fully dry before I attempt to start coloring it because I don't want it to smear or smudge or anything like that, okay? But if you do smear or smudge it, the wonderful thing about Stays On ink and the non-porous surface is that you can take an alcohol wipe or a little bit of alcohol on a cotton ball and you can wipe it right off and start over again. So it's perfect. You've not ruined it. If you misstamp or if you slip or whatever, you just clean it off and start again. It's wonderful. So we'll set that aside, and while that's drying, we're going to bring this back in, and I'm going to kind of show you how it is that I do the little charms themselves, okay? So let me show you that again. I've got right here the Oh Happy Day, and you can see it's got a few little rings on it, and that's what attaches it here, and it gives it a little dangle, and it's super cute. Okay, so I have a few of these here. I can be doing those while it's drying, while our stamped images are drying. So what I like to do is I like to take each of these little sets of pliers into my hands, and so you notice that they're pretty small. They're not great big ones. I've got the little double, the round nose ones on this side and the crimp flat nose, whatever you want to call them, on this side. Doesn't really matter, honestly. It's just whichever feels the most comfortable for you. But I'm going to take one of these larger jump rings. I like to do the bigger ring closest to my charm and closest to the one ring that holds it all together. Okay, and these bigger ones, let me see. What size are they? I can tell you that. The bigger ones are 6mm round jump rings. Okay, so these are 6mm and these are 4mm. That's what I'm using. And then I'm using I believe it's 12mm. Yes, 12mm lobster clasp for the clip. So what I'm going to do here is I'm putting I'm putting my one set of pliers on one side of where the little separation in the ring is, and it's going to be hard for you guys to see it on the video. I'm sorry about that, but hopefully here in just a second you'll be able to see better. So I put it on one side and put this one on the other side, and then I just give it a little twist, okay? You don't actually want to pull jump rings apart, because if you do that, then when you try to close them back up, they don't line back up again, and they keep a gap, and then you can lose things, and so on and so on and so on. So you do the twisty thing there so that you can keep them lined up nicely, and then they go back together nicely too, okay? All right, so now I'm going to put this on, and then I'm going to put one of these little rings on, and then all I'm doing is twisting the jump ring back to where it's even, okay? Now, you may need to do a little finagling with it to get it tight. That's totally fine. You know, whatever you need to do is okay. I like to make sure it's touching or overlap just a little bit, because I want to make sure that it's not going anywhere. And I don't want to lose any of my things, right? So there we go. Okay, now then, let me find that little end again. And for the label, I have a big one, a little one, and then another big one. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up again. Now I'm opening the little one, and I'm going to put a bigger loop on, and then close this back up. Okay. These are so tiny, aren't they? All right, and then there's my charm. Okay. Now I'll be ready to do the other ones, and then I can start working on coloring my other pieces. Now, I don't have any of the rabbit or the clouds. I don't have any more of those die cut and cooked yet, but I'll show you these, and then, you know, we'll just hang out for a few minutes, okay? Okay, so when you get the Shrinky Dink package, it has an instruction sheet inside that tells you exactly how to do the Shrinky Dinks, and it's super, super simple to do. In this particular case, it's set the oven at 325 and let it preheat. And then when you're ready to use your Shrinky Dinks, you're just putting them on a foil-lined tray, and you put them in the oven. You let it bake for 1 to 3 minutes, and you just keep an eye on it. And they do this weird thing, like they curl over each other. I mean, they curl over, like the edges curl up, and then they start flattening back out again. And when they do, they've shrunk down to, you know, less than half their size, and they've gotten thicker. So it's just the coolest thing to watch. And it is something fun for you know, the older elementary school kids to play with. You got to be careful to make sure that they don't get burned. You know, obviously they're really hot when they come out of the oven. So you got to be really careful about that. But it doesn't take them long to cool, just a hot second. So we're going to do this last one here. And again, with the jump rings, you don't want to pull them apart. You want to twist them apart, twist them open. So I'll put that one on. I'm going to put the little one on. Grab a hold here. There we go. And then I need to open up the little one. Ooh, that one's harder to see. I think that's right. Get a good hold of it here. The flowers are in bloom here in East Tennessee, so I feel a sneeze coming on, and if I do, I'm so sorry. Whew, yep. Phew, excuse me. So sorry. It's absolutely beautiful here this time of year, but my allergies are not a fan. Okay, and there's that one. So now I have all three of those charms ready to go. I'll set those off to the side here. And I'm going to set this off to the side too. And now I'm going to come back to the Shrinky Dink plastic. It's had plenty of time to dry. And we're going to color it in. So there's a couple of ways that you can do this. One of the ways is that I've stamped on this side, so I could go back and color on the back side. And the good thing about doing that is that you don't have to worry about smudging the black ink because it's on the other side. So I could color right over these little lined areas and not have to worry about it. I don't know if there's much difference in the way that it looks necessarily, except that it would be a little bit lighter, I guess, maybe like a stained glass effect. So I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to color right over the top of the front. I've let them dry for a minute, so they should be okay. And these markers, they're Artist Loft. They're not expensive. I got these from the craft store. And I'm just going to add a little bit of color. And I'm not even really trying to fill it in entirely. I'm just giving it the look of fluffiness. And just a little shade of blue, right? Because I don't want it to be just a plain, you know, just plain clear with a black outline. I want it to be a pretty cloud. So, and I really want to have a little bit of this color in it too. So that's all I'm doing here. Now I'm trying really hard to kind of stay clear of the edges as much as possible, and those little lines in there. I'm trying not to linger too much on those because it will pull that color up, and you know, you can end up with kind of a muddled blue, or at the very least you're going to lose those little lines. So I'm being really careful not to get right on top of the outer edge and not right on top of those little texture lines on the clouds either. Okay, so that's what I'm doing for that one. And then for the bunny, let me see, let me get my little sample here so I can show you. So you can see how the clouds look right there. I don't know if that blue comes out or not, but it's just a little bit, you know, it gives just a nice little bit of texture and color there. And then the bunny, I've done this color for his shirt and a little bit inside of his ears, just to, you know, because he's a white bunny and I don't want him to be left plain. So, you know, and I didn't use that one. And then I'm using this one for his nose, and the blue again for the puddle there. So I'm using these three colors right here. I don't know why that yellow is out. I guess I was planning on using it at one point and decided not to. I don't know. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just color in the bunny's nose. Again, you want to be really careful not to linger too long over the black lines because it will lift the color. Okay, so there we go. And then for the blue, again, just like with the clouds, I want to just do a little bit of color here to add to the puddle. Here we go. Ooh. And then don't do that because that's a mess. So there's my line. I'm just coloring all over the place. Happy-go-lucky girl here. There we go. Okay. All right. Very good. And I've been trying not to mess with my fingernails or anything, and I'm waiting till closer to time so that I can get a manicure done. It'll be fresh and beautiful for the trip. But meanwhile, my fingernails are starting to look really scary. I'm not really a prissy kind of girl. I use my hands, and I don't worry too much about scuffing my nails. So unfortunately, they look like I play out in the mud and things like that. So, which is fine. But I should have them manicured for my live, but that's okay. You forgive me, right? There we go. And as I said, just adding a little bit of color here. Okay. There we go. Just like that. All right. So there's that one. And then for the lighter pink, this we're just going to go a little bit inside the ears here. And again, I want to be really careful around that black and just kind of lightly tap it so that it doesn't smudge away. Okay. And I know it doesn't look like much right there. You may not see it very well, but it really pops once it's baked. So that's a good thing here. All right, I'm gonna just keep coloring here a little bit. Add the pink color to our little rain jacket. I wanted to do, I think that's why I had the yellow. I was gonna do a yellow rain jacket, you know, because that's typically what you think of for rain jackets, but I really wanted my little bunny to match my beads better too, so I forfeit the yellow rain jacket for a pink one. So that way it would match the beads better. And I think that's what I was thinking and why my yellow marker was out here. Okay, so there's that. All right, and you can see it's funny. It's just the lightest little bit of color, but if you look at this guy, you know, it's really bold and bright and very cute. All right, so let's do this again. Just a little bit of color here inside the ear. Right there, just a little, and then color his jacket, her jacket, their jacket, whatever. Color our bunny's jacket. Okay, yep, good. Now I will, let's see, this is Friday, oh my goodness. This week has just gone crazy, and I'm going to tell you, honestly and truly, you guys are my friends, and so I'm going to tell you this. I've not been as active on social media lately because I have been, you know, kind of just like in a daze, really. You know, we had to go back home the 23rd of February back to my husband's hometown, Wichita, because his father had passed away. And then while we were there and we were at his funeral the following week, my brother had called to say that our father had passed away. And so it was really crazy time. And, you know, understandably, it was kind of like chaotic and just hard to think about things and stay on task and everything else. And we were gone for a few weeks, actually, getting things taken care of. And so when I got back, it was kind of hard to get back into the groove. Not that I lost my interest in stamping, of course. I mean, I love stamping. It's my favorite thing in the world. But it was just really hard to, you know, get back in the groove of things. And then I started getting back into the groove, and you know, it's time to start booking excursions and things like that for our trip, which if you've been around here for a bit, you know that I've said before, when I earned the trip, like, this is really and truly just an incredible dream come true, because neither of us have ever been outside the country. Neither of us have ever been on a cruise. And we've always been really practical with our money and everything. And, you know, if we went on vacation anywhere, it was usually related to visiting family or whatever. You know, I mean, we just never really kind of let ourselves take actual vacation where there were no expectations. And so this trip is the Stampin' Up! Incentive trip, and so here's my moment to give you the disclaimer. They want us to say that less than 0.01% of all Stampin' Up! Demonstrators earn the trip. That's because it's a lot of work. um, any kind of thing like that is not something that you get for free in all essence of the word. You have to work for it, and you have to work really hard for it. And when I heard that Norway was the destination, I just couldn't stand it. I had to go. And so I worked really hard, and my team worked really hard with me. And I earned the trip, and it was just like amazing. So, anyway, and because of that, I will tell you that my mind is just absolutely worthless some days. I mean, my mind is already on that trip, and it is ready to go, and it is not wanting to stay on task these last few weeks. So I do apologize for not being as present as I had been, but I just want you guys to know that I truly love and appreciate all of you, and I hope that you are sticking with me. And when I get back, I'll be able to hopefully get my mind back in the game and get back to work and all that stuff. And there's a lot of new cool product that's coming out in just a few short days that I cannot wait to share with you. It's going to be spectacular, and there's lots of fun things that we can do with it. So I'm really excited about it, but my head is just, it's already on vacation. Okay, now, as I had mentioned earlier, I'm going to die cut these. So to keep from wasting much paper, and because this is not going to all fit in my die cut machine, I'm just going to give a very loose cut around it. And then I'm going to cut each of the sections apart. That way it'll be easier for me to put in the die cut machine. I won't have to worry about anything slipping or anything like that. So I'm just going to separate each of the sections. Of course, I'm also giving it time to dry a little bit because we're going to want that Sharpie, it's not really Sharpie, but that permanent marker to dry good before we run it through the die cut machine. Alright, so there we go. Just lay those there. Okay, let's see here. All right. Hopefully, sometime soon after I get back, I will have a different camera set up, and you might actually be able to see my face a little more often. I know you don't get to see me very often and probably have no idea what I look like, but that's mostly just because I'm really not that tech savvy, and I have two devices, but I don't know how to line them up, work them, or whatever, so that they're both, whatever. I don't know. But I've made a commitment to learn how to do that when I get back, so that way I can be more involved and more here. So, okay, now on the bunnies, I did go ahead and fussy cut this one myself because the die comes around the foot of the bunny. It doesn't include the puddle, and I really wanted the puddle to be in there. I thought that was part of the fun of it. I don't know about you, but I remember splashing around in the puddles, and it was so much fun. So I fussy cut around the rabbit. So I'll go ahead and do that, and just like you would fussy cut around paper, you're just gonna kind of loosely cut around it. It doesn't have to be really close. In fact, it's better if it's not. And I'm gonna kind of like just go around here And it's okay to leave some of the plastic there. Like, we don't really care. We don't want to be really close to the image. That one I may touch up just a little bit because I'm not sure I like how that looks, but there we go. There we go. See, you can always fix whatever you need to fix. All right, moving along. And I'm kind of trying to keep it moving forward, because if you don't and you backtrack on yourself, or like I'm cutting into the point, now I want to go that way, I'm going to take it from this end and come in and touch base with it, because otherwise I end up with kind of a thicker, I don't know what you'd call it, but just where the cut is, it's kind of a thicker, like the material, I don't know, it does some kind of a weird little thing. So I don't go back over myself where I've cut. I just try to keep going. And that way it doesn't have any of those little marks. Okay. So now we've got that one. And you can see that my ink is drying up really well. Okay, here we go. Come on, friend. There we go. Yep. And then I'm going to come in right here by his feet and up and around the little splashes so that they stay too, because that's part of what I like about it. Okay, there we go. Alright, I'm going to take that ring off because it's being kind of a pain in the patella. Okay, here we go. Another one here. Alright, and then once I get these all done, I'll take them up to the oven and, you know, give them the quick little bake, and it's just the coolest thing. So if you've never used Shrinky Dinks before, go check it out. You can find them at Hobby Lobby, Michael's, Amazon. You know, they're lots of fun, and you may even be able to find them at Walmart. I'm not sure if you can. But you can find them at any craft store, and they're just a lot of fun to play with, and you can do all kinds of things. So just remember that you want to stamp them with StazOn ink instead of regular dye-based ink, so that way they don't smear and smudge. And you know, there's no way I could touch that if it were regular dye-based ink. You know, it would smear all over the place. Okay, so you just want to make sure you've got that kind of StazOn ink, and then you can use permanent markers to color it in, and not regular markers. Again, the same thing, they'll smear and smudge, but you want the permanent markers to be able to color it in, and then cut out your shape, and then bake it in the oven, and it's good to go. Now, I will tell you also one more thing here, and then I think I'm going to go ahead and go so that I can focus on getting this done. But I have put holes in each of these, so you see that they've already got holes in them. You have to make sure that you punch those holes before you bake your Shrinky Dinks, okay? Trust me. That is a must, okay? And also be aware that as much as the Shrinky Dinks shrink, so too do the holes, okay? So a standard hole punch is really good. It will actually give you that size of hole right there. So that is from this hole punch right here, which is a standard size hole punch. Okay, so you see how much it shrinks down. Now, because I'm using tiny little jump rings, I can actually get away with using my much smaller punch here. And so I'm going to do that. And you can see there, maybe you can see how big the punched hole is. It's pretty small. It's going to be tiny by the time we're done. Okay, so we'll go ahead and do this one next. And since I've got it, I'll just punch this one too. There we go. Okay, I've got one more to fussy cut out, and then I'll be able to die cut these. Let me just show you now how the die cutting is. It works really simple and easy, just like you do any other image in your die cut machine, okay? So you're going to use your same platform and 2 plates. All right, there. And then let me grab my dies here. Actually just need the one. And I'll line that up just like you're die cutting any other image, okay? So just exactly the same way as if you're die cutting regular paper. Okay. You hear it crinkle, crinkle, crinkle. All right. And then there's the die cut shapes. All right. And then from here, I'm going to take that same hole punch and I'm just going to punch my holes. Now remember, you want to make sure that all of your holes are punched before you run them through the oven, because otherwise you're not going to be able to drill, or you're not going to be able to punch holes. You'll have to drill holes through it. So, okay, now this little one is kind of persnickety because it's so tiny, but let's see if I can get it to... There we go. All right, very good. Okay, so from here I take these up to the oven and I stick them on the foil lined paper and they go into the oven at 325 for 1 to 3 minutes, however long it takes for them to start to curl on the edges, and then they flatten back out again. And then you let it stay for about 20 to 30 seconds later. And of course all of the instructions are inside of the Shrinky Dink package, so you don't have to remember what I'm telling you, but try it out. It's super fun. You can even let the kids just draw their own thing with Sharpie and let them color it in. I mean, it's perfect. You can make little charm necklaces for them. This is such a fun little project, and it's fun for grown-ups too, as you can see. So, all right, friends. Well, thank you all so much for hanging out with me this evening. I know that kind of been on here just blabbing a little bit for a while, and this isn't my usual tutorial video, but thank you guys so much for hanging out, and I will see you all later. Be sure to check out my Instagram and Facebook, because I will be posting the completed little charms, so you'll be able to see them there. And yeah, so I'll talk to you later. All right, guys, bye.